Hello, dear friends. Here we are, the Medium's Harvest. This is day 31. And day 31 means in a 90-day journey that we're past the first third. We're entering the second third of the book that was written by Emmanuel, the spirit author who dictated these teachings through the medium Chico Xavier. Okay? Chico Xavier psychographed this book in 1960. There were 90 meetings, and Emmanuel, wrote through Chico explanations that deepen our understanding of the medium's book as a tribute to the medium's book. And today, the message is supreme because it talks about mediumship and privileges. Before we go there, think about this. How many people, they behave differently before mediums, and they think they have privileges, and that they are entitled to this, that, and the other, and if they don't feel it themselves, people feel treating differently the mediums of here and there. Is it right or wrong? Well, Emmanuel is going to develop his dissertation and his explanations based on item 306 of the medium's book. The item 306 of the medium's book belongs, okay, let me open this for us, 306, somewhat I lost the page, here we are. It's in chapter 28, about mediums for hire, fraudulent manifestations, charlatanism, and trickery. 306 says the following. It's quite simple, but not quite. Mediums for hire are not only those who ask for payment. Such self-interest does not always appear as ambition for material profit, but also as a pretense of any kind that may support personal desires. This is one of the weaknesses that mocking spirits know very well how to exploit, skillfully and astutely taking advantage of it and lulling those who fall under their influence into deceptive illusion. In sum, mediumship is granted for practicing the good, and the good spirits withdraw from anyone who intends to transform it into means for reaching anything contrary to the design of providence. Selfishness is the scourge of society, and good spirits strive against it constantly. Therefore, one should never suppose that spirits would ever want to aid it. This is so reasonable that it would be needless to insist on that matter. Ouch! No, Kardec is straightforward. He doesn't sugarcoat it. He says, according to what we know, it doesn't make sense to be paid by mediumship because mediumship is freely given and freely should be exercised. Second, if not for material payment, financial payment, we should be careful about expectations, self-interest. Like Daniel Douglas Home would not receive money, but he would practice mediumship for people of the elite society. Always he would receive gifts, not exactly money. And there are people who are like this. They accept privileges. So is that a problem? No, it's a huge problem. Because those are going to change the vibration. Do you remember when we were talking about the spiritist definition of spirits? We are spirits, and Kardec asked, and it's published in the Spirit's book. In the first part of the book, Elements of the Universe, it says for us, Kardec was asking, so can you give us a better definition what spirits are? And he say, well, for lack of better words, let's say your flames. We're flames, divine flames. So we vibrate, we radiate according to our thinking, to our feeling, not only words and actions. And vibrations. We have a certain color, particular odor, frequency, and thus, when we have that second intention, that hidden agenda, we are connecting with low order spirits. What does Emmanuel tell us? Chapter 31, Mediumship and Privileges. That was a public meeting on May 2nd, 1960. We all agree that the Spiritist doctrine now revives pure Christianity. However, there are many people who feel odd. You can tell Virginia's around, right? Virginia, can you go? Daddy's calling you downstairs.
Oh, Daddy, I'm coming.
But
oh, I don't forget my red ears.
It's okay. It's okay. Go to bed. I'll see you soon. Sorry, friends. Tonight we had our Christmas night at the center, so it took us a little longer. Virginia should be in bed, but you know, it's feast, so that's why she's going to bed right now and not earlier. Thank you, Livia. Thank you, friends. Thank you, Sunshine. Thank you. So, I will rewind. For those who are listening or watching on demand, please forgive us the interruption. But let's go back. Maybe we need to go back, right? Mediumship and Privileges. May 2nd, 1960. Based on item 306. We all agree that the Spiritist doctrine now revives pure Christianity. However, there are many people who feel odd about the organization without the so-called nobiliarchic values that mark most terrestrial organizations. Being deceived by idolatry, which is always costly, many less vigilant companions would wish to award the new revelation workers, creating galleries for personal highlight. And if they could determine the direction of things, in the opinion-based consensus, they would have long stated both chief counselors and titular mediums within our houses of service, wasting time in adulation and flattery. However, there is not a single note in the Cardassian codification in which special treatment is recommended for this or that medium, just because they speak with mastery or materialize discarnates, or transmit healing force, or psychograph renewing books. In the formation of our principles, the fundamental preoccupation of the divine emissaries was in fact to morally construct the mediumistic instrumentation on the basis of simplicity and on disinterest, so that it corresponds to the views of providence. Thus, there are no major or minor mediums favoring the constitution of prerogatives and castes amongst us. In both messages, the gospel and the message of Spiritism, what prevails above all is the responsibility for each one of us. Responsibility of feeling and thinking, of speaking and doing. We do not have the right to adorn others with the blazon of overconfidence so that they can do the work that belongs to us. For such reason, All the workers of the Spirit's construction are respectable. The counselors, who strive to succor an obsessed brother or sister through private understanding. They are doing the same work as those who use the word brilliantly, seizing crowds, and the mediums who write sanctifying writings are not superior to those who devote themselves to the restoration of the sick. To sustain the Spiritist idea is a duty for all of us. Getting rid of any imaginary nobility for those who serve Spiritism. In the Christian foundation, there are no privileges left for anyone. Christ, who revealed himself for what he did and for what he did not shy away from sacrifice and humiliation. Sometime after Jesus, James, the son of Zebedee, was murdered. Stephen fell under slander and stones. Simon Peter was led to extreme martyrdom. Paul of Tarsus fell under the blows of the sword because they were all teaching the truth and practicing the good. Today, we cannot say how the Spiritist mediums, which have the task of liberating consciences, how they will discarnate. But it is important that they live by attending to their duties so that they may receive death correctly. If not under the pomp of heroism, at least in the dignity of uplifting work. This changes everything we are doing in our Spiritist movement nowadays. Kardec published the books showing to us the direction. The mediums are important, but they are not the center stage. The message of the spirits are center stage. Chico Xavier always told us, always, that the messages were not his. So much so that he never kept a book for him, a penny of the selling of the books. And there are people who are, unfortunately, nowadays, living by the books that they sell. That's a no-no. But if it's not the money, it's the fame. It's the privileges. Chico Xavier would give attention to anyone and everyone. He would not be selective. Jesus, the same. And I'm saying Jesus, not that he's copying Chico, but the reverse. But Jesus never said, oh no, right now, Peter, John, James, I cannot meet with you because I'm going to meet with Caesar. Sorry. It's very important. Now I'm going to... And that's what we're seeing in our Spiritist movement nowadays. Many people giving lots of privileges to mediums. And Emmanuel is changing it all. Not that he knew that this is happening, but they are preventing it. Kardec already told us, no self-interest. If I give more attention to people because they give the money for my foundation, that's called self-interest. I remember a medium who was traveling once to the United States. And this medium used to paint, you know, the mediumship of painting mediumship. And the person came to me and said, Vanessa, the selling of the paintings, they come for our foundation in Brazil. Noble. But we cannot have a meeting and have the spirits paint, counting on the selling of it, of mediumship, work to sustain lives. That's not right. It seems right, but not according to Kardec or Emmanuel. Not according to the foundation. I mean, if it happens, it's okay. People can donate the money to buy it and to turn into the foundation. But we cannot expect. The problem is the expectation. Using mediumship for material gain. The problem is not material gain for others. I cannot write a book, psychograph a book, thinking this is going to bring the money for my foundation. Because then I change the reason why this book is coming to life. The books are not coming to life to sustain material organizations, no matter how noble they are. They can be used. That's a different thing. Like Chico. Chico would not write for that purpose, but he would write and say, here you go. This book was psychographed and I'll give to this publisher so you can use this work to help the center, etc. and the charitable organizations. But the book was not written for it. Like a painting is not brought by the spirits for that purpose. I know what we're saying is very delicate, very sensitive, but it's needed. The direction our spiritist movement is taking is dangerous in that regard. If I have a foundation, I cannot count on mediumistic production to sustain it. I can use it, but I cannot rely upon it. Because then, if there is any financial difficulty, I'm going to put pressure on mediumship, counting on mediumistic production to get new books that are going to sustain this foundation. And that is not the direction. What else are they saying? That the mediums who are good speakers, that write beautiful pages like Chico, or who are great speakers like Divaldo, they are not superior to those who heal people. John of God. They're not superior to counselors. They work in obsession meetings helping the spirits. People don't even know their names. They are not superior. These are the words of Emmanuel. But you hear this. Do you believe it? Or you think Emmanuel is exaggerating? Do you believe it? Do you think it is right? We shouldn't believe for belief. But we should think. Is this right? Can you put like Divaldo Franco and another person who is a counselor at a obsession meeting at the same treatment, same platform? No, Vanessa. Aha. That's what we're talking about. Right, Leah? You believe it? Would you agree? Does our reasoning follow the reasoning of Emmanuel? Because he is really revolutionizing it all. Actually, he's following Kardec's basic instructions and he's developing it to another level. But I think nowadays our movement forgot it. Many people are treating Divaldo Franco as if he were a saint. And we love Divaldo. But they are not helping Divaldo. They're not helping the medium. And that's what he's saying here. Let's go back. He says, we all agree, that's the foundation of it all, beginning of his message, that Spiritism revives the teachings of the Christ. And there are many people who don't understand the simplicity of the dynamics of a Spiritist center, the Spiritist practice, he's saying. And there are many people who would easily instate, like, these people are honorary members, honorary mediums, and as he say here, chief counselors, and treating people differently. Jesus would treat the person who comes at the center for the first time and the one that is helping the center every day the same way. We've never heard Jesus treating differently the disciples. Of course, he would spend more time with them for a reason. But he wouldn't say, no, I cannot talk to you because now I need to talk to my disciples. So sorry. Now I have a meeting. No, we never heard Jesus being that way. He was always open. Okay? Somebody else wrote, I believe. Many people working at Kardec Radio. That's wonderful. So, friends, let us deepen the understanding. He said, not a single note in Kardec's books talks about a special treatment recommended for this or that medium. Did we hear that? No. Because everybody's treating mediums differently. And they are treating other people differently. Because this one is doing this, that one. But Vanessa, look what this medium is doing. Well, is he superior to others? Right, Adilson? Thank you, Adilson. It's good to have everybody there working Kardec Radio and more people joining in. It's great. Thank you. So, you believe in it, right? You know it, Adilson. I know you know it. But we need the major homework for us is going to be, am I treating everybody as children of God? Or am I saying, this is a child of God, but a special child of God? No, but I like this person more than the other. And then I treat differently? Jesus didn't. So much so that when he appeared after this incarnation, when he appeared, he didn't show up to his mom first. He showed up first and foremost to Mary Magdalene to surprise everybody. This is our master. He's not trivial. And he's teaching us a lesson. No hypocrisy. No privileges. Oh, but she's my mom. Come on, everybody. Of course I'm going to show up to my mom. She's my mom. No. Why show up to his mom and not everybody else? Doesn't work. At the end of the day, his mother and everybody else are children of God. No, but she gave birth to him. Yeah, but according to God, there's no difference. According to God, Mary is not worth more than Mary Magdalene. According to God. According to God, Divaldo Franco, Raul Teixeira are as important as you and I. No, Vanessa. Yes, there shouldn't be a different treatment. So homework for us. Am I investing in adulation of mediums and spiritist workers? Because if I am contributing to the failure of theirs. Right? And Teresa Castro is reminding us, thank you, Teresa, that Mary Magdalene transformed the most. And that's the lesson. So Jesus showed up to teach a lesson. He didn't show up out of, oh, let me just say hi to everybody. I said, no, no, no. There is a lesson. In every step, there is a lesson. And that's the lesson. Thank you, Teresa. So there's no difference between you and I and amongst any of us compared to anyone. If I treat people differently, I didn't know. I still don't understand the gospel that was brought in by Jesus. He says, in the codification, there's not a single note on a special treatment just because they speak with mastery or materialize discarnates or transmit healing force or psychograph renewing books. There are no major mediums or minor mediums creating categorizations, castes. But we're seeing a lot of this. We even saw some spiritist international meetings and national meetings in other countries in which they created a VIP room. And nowadays we're creating almost like a Hollywood sensation amongst certain speakers and mediums in Spiritism, to the point that the speakers come in and people cheer up as if they are seeing a celebrity. We're missing the boat big time. One thing is the joy of being together. Another is the adulation. And there are people when we'll give one other step. Some people ask me sometimes why. I remember in 2004, an American psychologist traveling with me to the celebration of the 200th anniversary of Kardec in Paris, France. We were going to give a talk there in the International Spiritist meeting. And I remember this American psychologist, during the flight from the United States to Paris, she asked, "Can I see the program of the event?" "Sure." She opened and asked, "Why are there so many men and only 2 women speakers?" And I was shocked because I was like, I never did the math. I've never done it. Really? Let me see it. Oh my God, that's true. Never realized it. You're so used to it, you never realize. And many people ask the reason why. Well, there are many reasons. Cultural reasons. The culture that is leading the Spiritist movement in the world nowadays is very still centered in the male figure. But in spite of it, the majority of the attendees of the Spiritist movement are women. And what happens is, many women dream about these speakers. They dream about them as if, like what happened to Paul of Tarsus. Even Emmanuel says that. It's in the book Paul and Stephen. The woman was engaged. But when she saw Paul preaching, she was like, I love you. I love you. And it created a lot of problems for Paul of Tarsus. Read the book and we'll see. It's a common, more common than we imagine. Many women dissatisfied with their marriages or without a particular companion, dreaming about, and we sustain the pattern. I'm not being simplistic, but that's a reality as well. And that is why many people invest in adulations, in flattery. And we don't notice that we are contributing to the failure of those mediums, of those speakers. Because according to what the Kardec and Emmanuel are saying, them or us, we're not different from anybody else. And it says, in both messages, the gospel and the message of Spiritism, what prevails above all is the responsibility for each one of us. What is our responsibility? The responsibility of feeling and thinking, speaking and doing, says Emmanuel. We do not have the right to adorn others. So you see, he's not even blaming directly the mediums, but shaking up the audience who is creating the golden idol, the next idol. We do not have the right to adorn others with the blazon of overconfidence so that they can do the work that belongs to us. There are people that don't start a study session, a new program in their Spiritist Center without calling another medium in another center. There are presidents of Spiritist centers around the world that delegate their self-confidence to mediums elsewhere, usually in Brazil. And that's why the Spiritist movement around the world is slowly growing. Because people call and say, Divaldo, should I start a session, a new study in our center on the medium's book? What do you think? Are we on the right direction? I'm not kidding. I've seen it. I've seen people writing emails, texting messages like, what do you think if I become the next president of such federation? I mean, people in Brazil mind their business in the movement in Brazil. Take responsibility. If you are in the United States, the spirits that are guiding you in the United States, they count on you, not on them. Oh, but Vanessa, they know better. No. We should consult like scientists. Scientists also consult their friends, but not every step of the way. They use their reasoning. And we learn in Spiritism that our faith is not blind. People only behave this way when they have blind faith. They're like, I'm not so sure. Read the Spirit's book. Read the manuals, the manual of the mediums, the medium's book. And your reasoning will tell you. Reasoning doesn't fail. It's a reasoned faith. I've seen presidents of federations calling mediums elsewhere to ask, should we study this book now in our Spiritist Center? I mean, one thing is we are exchanging ideas, like somebody comes from North Carolina, from Maryland, from California. We sit down together and say, oh, we're studying this, oh, we're studying that, we're doing a meeting like this. I remember when we were visiting New York, and we were sharing many years ago with Jussara Korngold from the Spiritist group of New York, that we put together a manual for spiritual treatment at the Spirit Society of Baltimore. And back then she was like, oh, it would be interesting to see. So they started their spiritual treatment there. They applied. And then later, the Love and Light Spiritist Center by Mara, they didn't have the spiritual treatment. We initiated in Baltimore. We passed on the manual. We went to New York, and then to New Jersey, and then to other locations, like the roadmap. This is collaboration. It's one thing. Another is not to think and ask others to think for us. And if something goes wrong, blame on them. Oh, we tried it. You see, it didn't work. Blame on the medium. You see, people don't want to take responsibility. So, Emmanuel says, we do not have the right to adorn others with the blazon of overconfidence so they can do the work that belongs to us. For this reason, all the workers of the Spirit's construction are respectable. All of them. Counselors, mediums, speaking mediums, writing mediums, healing mediums. So we first of all needed to sustain the Spiritist idea is a duty for all of us. There are no privileges left for anyone, even Christ. He was not treated differently. He says here, sacrifice and humiliation. The disciples didn't either. Today we cannot say how Spiritist mediums. Now he's talking about consequences. The spirits cannot tell how we're going to die. The physical body is going to die. But he says, let us then face death with dignity. If we're not going to be heroes, at least may death meet us with the duty fulfilled in the uplifting work. Just like Kardec, he opened the door. He was receiving the latest issue of the Spiritist magazine, the printing. He fell on the floor. He discarnated. That is what the spirits are talking about. The mediums at Kardec time were not more important than Kardec. Kardec was not more important than them. Nobody's more important. Is it tough, friends? What a message. But simplicity is the key. Simplicity is the key. And if people are asking for privileges, I'm so sorry, but we're going to treat everybody alike. Everybody. Do you remember when I mentioned to you that a Spiritist medium speaker was visiting us in Virginia many years ago? It was the year 2009. The person was visiting us, and there was an Iranian woman who became a Spiritist, and she had cancer. She wanted to talk to him after the talk. So she came to me and said, Vanessa, can you please help with the translation? Because I would like to ask him a question. And I helped. It was a personal question, but fair, because she needed consolation. So the medium unfolded the answer, but when we got home, the medium was upset with me. It wasn't Divaldo Franco, okay? The medium looked at me and said, I'm going to ask you something. Never, ever, ever do that again. I'm not a psychologist. I'm just a speaker. This medium was under spiritual influence. Because according to Christ, there is not a single day that we shouldn't reach out to others, to listen to others. We don't need a degree of a psychologist. We don't need to be a psychologist. We just need to be brothers and sisters of others. This is when the medium is thinking that he's already at another level and deserves privileges. So it happens. If the spirits are saying and spending time with this message, that's a sign that we need it to prevent problems. It's like troubleshooting. Yeah, this is a message of troubleshooting in the medium's harvest. Right, Luciana? Right, Justina? Teresa Castro? Hi, friends. Hello, Rose Neves Greek. How are you? And beautiful Adilson, Leia Severo, Nina Dui, Ceissa Costa, Lívia Moraes. Ah, that's so beautiful. Angelita, Nina, Ah, Paula, we were just there together. So Souza, Carol Smith and Mark Smith with us. Sunshine, Rihanna and Nico. Guilherme, velho, how are you? What a joy to be together. Right, friends? So, Andrea Toys is saying, I do it every day, listen to people's needs, and I'm very happy. And you're doing a great job, my friend Andrea. I know you love listening to people, and that's the way to go. And when we become, if we become the President of the United States, we're not going to stop listening to people saying, that's not my task. Right, Nora Brazil and Rudy? Yes? So tonight, the message is strong, but it's loving. It's preventative. We need to change the course of events, friend. Because if these mediums are being flattered and aduled by us, we later are going to be co-responsible for what they didn't do. Did you see? Jesus, he revealed himself for what he did and what he did not. Like us. We're going to be held accountable for what we do and we don't do. So we need to think about this. What's going to happen tomorrow? Tomorrow, God willing, talking about mediums, good ones. Emmanuel is titling it Unforgettable Medium. I guess we're going to sing. Unforgettable in every way. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. But it's more than the song. Who is the unforgettable medium? You wanna know? Come back tomorrow. I'm not gonna. That's not no spoiler. Okay? But let's just as a teaser. What does he say? This unforgettable medium that Emmanuel is going to describe, he did not complain or claimed regarding the cooperation of others, but he himself was always open to collaborate with others. Who is he or she? There was no easy goat, neither privileges, no political support. Who was him? We need to know, because if Emmanuel is saying unforgettable medium, so this medium shall be. Who is he? We need to know. Tomorrow, Emmanuel, as a good educator, is going to give us more information about the anatomy and physiology of an unforgettable medium. Who is he? Jesus Teresa Castro? I don't know. We'll see. Come back tomorrow. Let's have fun together learning about this. Enjoy. And don't forget, our homework for all of us is, am I adorning mediums and speakers and people in spiritism with golden colors? Hopefully not. Right, Sunshine? Friends, big hug of gratitude. Let's pray for one another and stay together in this beautiful connection of elevation, seeking the good, feeling the good, visualizing the good, and molding the good during the day and night with all the resources we have at hand. Big hug to you. Until tomorrow.